Righto, guys. Episode 2 with Tom and Eddy, the Hello Sport boys, and this is terrific. We're going to talk. The boys are going to talk to us about their really big breakthrough moments as far as the podcast is concerned, and some great stories. In particular, a great story about this man here, Jimmy Barnes. Enjoy.
They don't give you a high chair for you to sit up there?
He wants to stand.
I like standing better.
Okay.
My back is fucked.
I respect that.
James Magnuson, who's a terrific bloke.
He's one of the greats. Love the missile.
Love him, mate.
Yeah.
And the fact, come on, I'm telling you blokes about the enhanced game.
Yeah. Well, that was good. We've actually broken a couple of fucking massive news stories.
Huge ones. The Nathan Cleary one with Mary Fowler.
Mary Fowler. We broke that. He even said as much the other day. He was in there for another podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, you guys fucking blew that story up."
Because there was a tiny little 5-sentence article in the newspaper about how him and Mary Fowler had gone for ice cream, and we're like,
after a sponsored event.
Yes,
after a sponsored event, it was down the
That's how it starts.
no one just goes for ice cream, man.
Yeah,
that's not how
right.
it works.
No. The Belgian waffles.
That's right.
Yeah, there's no friendly ice cream.
Yeah.
But
on missile, I think we're just having a conversation because I was saying, listen, it's all well and good to say, oh, we're just going to get people to dope and they're going to break times. I'm like, that's not really how it works. You need to be a thoroughbred that then dopes.
Yes.
Then you're likely to break a record.
Yeah.
It doesn't. You can't just take yourself, for example, and turn you into the fastest man in the world, right?
Or DC, you turn him into DC. It doesn't happen. It's been proven experiment. It didn't work.
No, why is everyone looking at me? I don't get it.
Well, because you're sitting right across from me.
Yeah.
But it was amazing when we were in Paris together, because we were doing podcasts every night together, so we'd be walking along, and of all the the stuff and controversies around the enhanced games, and he was one of the few people to put his hand up. Everyone, but believe me, behind the scenes was lots of people bumping him. So we'd be walking into the pool area, and you get a Brazilian or an American swimmer come up and say, "Hey James, how you doing?" And they'd pull him aside and he was asking about how's his work, what he'd been promised.
It's an interesting concept. We've always been like, obviously the Olympics is what it is, but it's sort of, I feel like people just have a warped idea of like what it means. It's not like you're just some raucous steroid juice head. It's like, this is specificity training and like everything's properly documented. You don't just get needles in your ass in a car park. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's administered by doctors. It's as healthy as it possibly can be. But so on the podcast, we were asking that question about, do you need to be good to then dope and break records? He's like, 100% you do. And then he said, by the way, I'll take $1 million and get involved. Like, if you want me to get involved, I'll do it for $1 million. And they offered it to him.
Yeah.
And it went from there.
Where's
That's
it at?
right. The enhanced, the juice it's the cream on top.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. You've got
And I
to
saw a
have
photo of him the other day. I sent him a DM. I was like, "Hey, you're looking," and he sent back a photo, and I was like, "Holy
Mate,
shit!"
saw that photo.
Yeah.
It's scary. Do you know this is the insanity,
Unbelievable.
right? He had to go overseas to train because he couldn't train in any pools in and around Sydney, not for the reason because the enhanced games, they wouldn't let him dive in.
Why?
They wouldn't, because it's the rules. The rules of pools now is that you can't
The rules
dive
of
in. And he went to him and said, guys, in North Sydney pools said, fucking James Magnuson. Like, I've been to 2 Olympics. I won a Commonwealth gold medal and World Olympics. They said, no, the rules are rules, mate. You can't dive in.
So what? If they know you're doping, you just can't get in the water.
No. That wasn't a problem. The problem was when he was training for his starts, diving off the blocks, they don't let you.
But because of neck injuries.
Because of neck injuries. It's a new policy. So even
really?
could have been Mark Spitz turn up there or the other Palooka. You can.
So how does anyone train for
Hugenband?
You can't. You can go to Hugenband, one of those guys. You can't go to a public pool and literally dive in off the blocks anymore.
There you go.
far out?
So he got. Yeah, it's a true story.
It just doesn't sound right.
It's a true
Is that
story.
not true, Jack? Jack's shaking his head.
I'll do a toddler for you.
What is that?
No, I'm telling you.
Oh, Jack's going to Google it.
Yeah.
I hope you do.
No. I want to.
No.
You can tell. I'm going to text Missile now. Get it straight from the horse.
Do one.
Get
better.
the rules of pools from Missile.
Bring him the rule of pool. I know.
Continue, son.
That'll be the name of the potty. Yeah, right. That's so bizarre.
I feel like an idiot typing in, can you dive into a swimming pool?
Okay, Jack's just Googled, can you dive into a swimming pool in Australia? That's what you should specify.
Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't really make like a little sense because how is anyone ever going to prepare unless you had a swimming pool at home?
AIS and those sort of places where.
So you can only go to the proper training facilities rather than just
a proper trainer and all that sort of stuff. You can, but you can't just go turn up by yourself and stand on the blocks and dive anymore.
Just
that
quietly,
is insane.
do you know where it's at with the enhanced game? Because I heard it wasn't even going to go ahead.
I think they're making a documentary about it. I'm pretty sure it's going ahead, but it might just be like being delayed. I think they were like, oh, it's on next year. I think there's a bit more going into it now.
Yeah, I like the idea of because obviously athletes want the glory of the Olympics, right?
Yep.
You should be trying to attract people that are about to retire. Go, you've had the Olympics, you've had your moment, you might have won your gold medal, you've made a final, whatever. Go another 4 years, go another 2 years, dope to the gills,
Go for
and try and break records.
Yeah.
In like a small window before you retire. I think that's the go. Because
Well,
you get people in their prime, but you don't
That's
sully the Olympics.
Well, Noah Lyles, he was the gold medalist.
He's a
Noah?
sprinter.
The sprint. Noah Lyles.
Yeah.
Well, they went to him, and his thing was, well, you know, I'm at the peak of my powers here. I'm not going to juice. And they went, you don't have to. It's called the enhanced gains, but you don't have to juice. You can go there as a clean athlete and compete against the other guys. So it's the enhanced gains. But if you're a clean athlete and you're an Olympian, they offered him apparently big money to be a part of it. You don't have to juice. But it'd be very interesting, as I said, if the enhanced gains was to go ahead at some point, and suddenly blokes start running 9.5 seconds for 100, breaking world records left, right and centre. What does that do to the Olympics proper?
Yeah.
Are you going to be happy watching a guy run 9.95 and get the gold medal? Or are you just going to go, these guys are fucking reserve graders?
Yeah, it's what it'll feel like.
It's like turning up to a State of Origin game and instead they've got New South Wales Cup players.
Yeah.
And you're going, hell.
Well, I don't understand why you can't, like, if it's all, I feel like the reason that steroids is like seen as negative is because there was a period there where it was just like chaotically administered and it was, again, car park stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's now like a safe, medically observed thing that can be done, then
And
why aren't
everyone's on the same
and
playing
everyone's
field.
on it, let's fucking rip.
Mate,
Let's see how quick we can go. What are we doing?
I would like to see how quick we could go.
Yeah.
That's always intrigues me.
So if we locked ourselves in this room now for the next 6 months and just started juicing
Jabbing it up.
jabbing up, and ran out in the street and just said, right, 100
Who's going to
metres,
go? Let's all four of us juice for a year and then come back here and run
Can
up
we
your
break
driveway.
12 seconds?
I don't think it'd do anything for us.
To do absolutely
I
fuck
don't
all.
think it'd be
No.
zero.
Again, you got to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They reckon it does amazing things for the sex drive. That could be a problem. So don't bolt the doors. But when you play rugby league, right, and word would go around about their guys. You know, you knew you'd be playing against guys who were juicing, and when you tackled them, oh fucking hell,
You could tell.
oh the difference. They're that hard. It is literally like tackling the side of a building.
Is it possible to do in today's game? Like, do you reckon there would be players that are like
Running the gauntlet?
Yeah.
Probably would be, Tom. Probably would be.
I
I think in every sport there would be
There is
some.
always someone.
I
doing
think
it,
it'd be more to answer your question, it'd be more in a capacity they did it around that sort of 18 to 20 mark before they became first graders.
Yeah,
So it
right.
helped them to get there. But
build the base.
It's not sustainable to be doing it like when you're in there because there's just too much testing.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
know?
boys, here
You don't
we
want to
go.
be like Cherry.
I sent it to Missile.
Evans.
Cherry.
Oh, Bronson.
Cherry.
Oh, right.
Cherry.
Yeah, I was like, Cherry Evans.
I
There's
got
no way
Cherry
he
Evans
has.
is juicy. That's a scoop.
There you go. Missile, is it true that one of the reasons you went overseas is that you weren't allowed to dive off the blocks at a public pool? And he'd come back, yeah, Matty, that's true.
Wow.
There you go. Straight from the horse's
Straight
mouth.
from the missile's
Straight from the
mouth.
missile's mouth.
What do you have to say, Jack? Man, you're wrong there, bro.
Missile's gone nuclear.
There you go,
Wow.
Jack. There you go.
Hey, can we
not doubt it.
Yeah, I know. You took that very personally. I love it.
No, well, listen,
I love
I
the
mean, yeah.
extreme you went to just to
Had
prove
to
your
do
point.
it.
Yeah. All right. So no one diving in public pools.
But that is insane. That's like an insane. I didn't know that. That's an
Yeah.
absolutely.
Have you
ridiculous
blokes ever
fucking thing.
been approached to do a breakfast radio show? Because I tell you what, there's some fucking bludgers going on right now. There is. There's a show. It's not, mate. I mean, Kiss speaks. That's. I mean, you guys are the upper echelon, but there's some awful shows out there.
No, we've never been approached to do anything. I think we did stuff with SEN a couple of years ago, but we were always like, we don't want to do a show. We just did interviews and then we put them across. We didn't curtail our swearing, so I think that probably got a little bit jack of that when
You
it was like.
you just listen to these like Wednesday night interviews. The one with Willie Mason it was bad. Like
Yeah.
9
we
or
just
10
put
beeps a
in it,
minute.
and it was just like beep 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 beep. It sounded like Morse code.
It was almost inaudible. You couldn't listen to anything.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
So I think
like,
they were
what are
like-
we paying for? Is
Yeah.
I think what the sentiment must have been.
And the old I can imagine the radio executives going, getting up to the shit going, great show, guys. Really fun. I mean, laughed at a lot of the stuff. However, we used to have our post meetings all the time. Great show. Loved it. However,
there's always a but.
Always.
Did they actually review? Did they do like they call it an air check? Did they air check?
No, so we would record them in our studio
and send it.
Maybe even when you were on ours. I'm not sure if that was when we were still doing them, but we'd record them in the studio and then we'd record for however long we'd chat for. Then we'd chop it down to a 40-minute radio thing. It'd go on radio first, beeped to bejesus, and then it'd go on our podcast unedited on the weekend. But like after Mason's one, someone put in the punters and dribblers, Willie Mason's fucks per minute. And like listened to the whole thing and just counted every time he said fuck. And then over the course of the episode, how that broke down.
Sometimes I think with Justin Horror on levels sometimes. Willie just starts going hard. Fuck. I'm watching Scope just going, oh God. Almost trying to slip out of vision.
It's funny. Like, remember when you talk about the fucks per minute? Remember when we had Brandon Smith on the podcast last week?
I love Brandon.
And one of the great characters. But we were talking about, remember when he left Storm, went to the Roosters, and he went on a podcast and he was loosey-goosey on that, very open about the whole situation. But I think it was Buzz or Reedy or something.
No, it was Dean Ritchie.
Dean Ritchie. Bulldog listened to it and broke a story breaking down how many F words he said in the podcast.
F words, and then I think maybe like
the
6 C-bombs.
6 C-bombs.
Yeah.
It was poor old Bulldog. He was beside himself.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
That was funny.
What's the game come to?
I'm looking forward to seeing Brandon at Souths.
Yeah, same.
I reckon Wayne will get him going.
It'll get him going. Sorry, guys.
No, you're
so
right.
popular at the moment. I'll put it on silent.
And like, you know, Eddie and I are far from rugby league experts, but I didn't think he was going that bad just before he got injured.
I thought he was going good. He was coming
Felt
back.
like he was he was actually going all right.
I thought last year, that first year was tough for him. I think last year was came into his own.
Yeah.
And then I think the whole team did, though. I think they started to play a real good brand of footy. And then him and Sam Walker did their knee.
It was funny, in the same game, and I thought both of them were coming on leaps and bounds together.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was a really big blow. But he just like, there's certain blokes that you looking back in hindsight, you go, Brandon, Roosters is just something that doesn't quite fit there. Brandon's his natural nature of what he's like, taking the piss out of coaches and people. Just had that feel. Where with Wayne, like he'll be in a short period of time Wayne's favourite. He's exactly a Wayne type of player and a South Sydney type of player. We were talking to him here and we were talking to all the G-ups he's done on Bellyache.
Yeah.
And I reckon when you see that Apple TV show on Bellyache that was on, I thought it was really interesting to see even the new guys at the club like Ellie Katoa taking the piss out of Bellyache.
Yeah.
I reckon that says a lot about a club and a coach. You can do that.
Yeah.
That was a good
when
knockout.
they stole his luggage off the fucking thing and he's
Still
still
the
there
best one
blowing up.
when Brandon put all the stones in Bellyache's bag.
Yeah.
We said to him, I said, like taking the piss out of Bellyache, and I think that might have been Coops just said, and he didn't say it maliciously in any way, but it just sort of shows the different cultures between the two clubs. Not saying one's right, one's bad, right and wrong. But you said, "Oh, do you do it to Robbo?" And he went, "Oh no, I don't do that to Robbo." He just went, "Ooh."
We should have cut it out. On the baggage claim, that's his pet hate, Bellyache. Like if his bag's if he's always the last bag out or it doesn't come, he gets so angry. So the boys I remember one day it didn't show up. We were sitting there, we just got beat by Penrith or something up here, and we were going back and we're sitting there and there was a couple of bags that didn't come and everyone was like, please let Bellyache's bag come because he's in the worst mood already. And he was just sitting there. And you know how like when the camera flashes are in the box and he's always just like biting his lips, like really angrily to stop himself from going ballistic? He was dead set chewing his lips off. And we were like, no. And then it never came. So we were sitting we get like a little shuttle bus back to where all our cars are parked. And the only spare seat was in the back seat next to Bellyache. And so I'm like, shit. So I'm sitting next to him and he's just fuming. And I was just looking, and then there was a massive road detour. So they went, so they go, it's going to take another 20 minutes to get to the car, and he's just fuming. And then the whole place was so tense. There was no music, no radio on the shuttle. And I go to him, when it rains it pours, eh? And then and all the boys looked back, and he looked at me, and I was looking at him in the side though, and he goes, well, it must be fucking storming there. Funny thing about what you said about the Roosters though before, saying Brandon wasn't didn't seem like that kind of player. After we recorded the potty, I got thinking, I was like, when you go comparing Melbourne and Roosters, Melbourne's very much if you work hard on the field, it doesn't really matter what kind of personality you are, what you're like off the field. It's, you can bring all types in, and it's just they treat everyone to be an individual, however they are. Roosters, to me, and I don't know the inner sanctum of the joint, so it's only me looking from the outside. It seems like a kind of place where if you went there, you kind of conform to their system.
The Rooster way.
Do you know what I mean? It very much seems like that to me.
Why does everyone these days? Every club has the way.
Yeah.
Surely can come up with something different.
I know.
like the Newcastle system. Everything's like everyone's got a way.
Ways and systems.
Everyone's got
That's
a way, a
right.
system, and a hashtag of what their season's all about.
Everyone's got a centre of excellence. I mean, really, some of the clubs. Should you really call it a centre of excellence? I mean, centre of fucking mediocrity. Some of them.
And who came up with that name? Why is it always a centre of excellence? Why
Well, I
couldn't it
think
just
someone
be?
would have started with one, and then everyone's like, geez, that sounds flash on.
Geez, that's cool.
Yeah.
So my old coach from the Knights, Malcolm Reilly, Manly, complete legend, Manly. Now, he's just been diagnosed with cancer of spinal cord. Sorry to bring that up. Don't want to bring things down. But he was the best coach we ever had because, mate, although we fucking trained hard and he ran a pretty tough operation, everyone knew where he stood. Never played a mind game with everyone, respected everyone. As long as you worked hard, you could be whatever you want to be. And I think they were the happiest years of my playing career, playing under Malcolm. We never trained as hard anywhere as we did that year, but it was fucking fun. It was good. You could turn up to train every day and be yourself. I can only imagine turning up at a team where it's got a uniform culture. Everyone's got a
It sort of doesn't even make sense. I would have always thought that was kind of the vibe. If you train hard, do everything you need to do, and then it's like,
oh, mate,
crack on.
I've heard stories of other clubs where a coach will say to a young player, hey, mate, get ready. You're in this week. There was one player who rang his family. His family flew from Sydney up to fucking Brisbane to watch as they'll play in the Broncos. Halfway through the warrant, the coach comes and goes, you've just learned how to prepare for the game. You're 18th man.
oh my
What?
God, dude.
That's
ruthless shit.
Those stories are quite common. Don't
Really?
worry. Yes.
You've learned how to prepare. What about my family? Yeah, mate, they're prepared to.
They've learned
They get it now. They get it. They know how to get efficiently through the fucking airport.
The family have
What
sold the
flight
car.
to get, mate? You know?
They've sold the car and the family dog to be here.
Yeah.
You're 18th man.
Wow, that's crazy. That seems like such overkill. Like you're overthinking your job here a bit, aren't you? Like when you're doing that to someone.
Well, some of it, and this way actually works better. Some of them just wait right up until like the day of the game to tell them they're actually playing. And I think that actually works well as coach because you don't get the nervousness through the week.
Yeah.
But sometimes they've had to tell the parents on the day of the game, righto, get down here now. And they're like, shit, I have work.
Yeah.
You know?
That's different.
It's
but
good.
again, I think that feels a little better than get everyone up here. And
Yeah. Like it's in the best interest of the player because they think he's going to be sweet.
Like on your coach, right, who he had an international player in his team, right? And this guy is one of the biggest legends at a club. And this coach come in who was notorious like and play mind games and started texting him saying, oh, geez, have you seen this young guy who's coming through? Better watch your back. Right?
The coach was saying that to the player.
Yeah, to this season national. And the season national came back and he was like, you never underestimate people's insecurities. He was like going to people going, mate, I'm getting this text from the coach. Well, what the hell's going on? And he just kept going at him all the time. And you're going, what is the point? Joey had a coach once. I love this story. This is great. Joey had a coach once when Joey's sort of getting towards the end at Newcastle, and the coach got there and said, and his thing, the coach was, he used to like to put everyone in their place. So he got Joey there who was fairly, easy to say, a free spirit and did whatever he wanted. So the coach was like, right, what can I do here to sort of push Joey a little bit, push him down a little bit? And he goes, right, everyone come in. What we're going to do, everyone have a bit of a crack. I mean, Joey kicks off, but is he the best? Is he the best person to kick off? Let's run through it and have a go. Anyway, so everyone's sort of kicking off. Everyone's going, what the fuck's going on here? Anyway, Daniel Abraham stood up and Abe's just went fucking whack. Mate, 30-metre hang time, 30-metre hang time coming down. And the coach just turned and said, I'm sorry, Joey, you're no longer kicking up. Abe's was kicking off. And Joey goes, why the fuck would I care? I've won 3 golden boots and 3 Dally M's.
Yeah, I don't care, mate.
Just
cause his bluff. Yeah, I might have a breather anyway.
Advantage me.
I'm
This
over
will
it.
get him scared.
This will get him.
Hey, back to the podcast for a sec. Shane Keith Productions.
Yes.
So that's your guys' production company. Is that right?
Well, that's the company that I that's the name of the company, and then the business is Hello Sport.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's actually now Pipe Dreams Media as of
A couple of
a
weeks ago.
ago.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Shane Keith Productions was named
Pre
the death of Shane
demise.
Keith Warren, so
Yeah.
it was an homage to Shane. Then he passed away, and so we've always ummed and ahed about it. We're like, I don't know.
It sort of also was
bit
like
random.
it was when it was just us, and now there's like a few other shows that are in and amongst the universe, and so like with Jarchi and We Mean Well and that, like when you're like trying to sell that show from a Shane Keith Productions, it just feels a little bit like it felt a little bit like
Okay.
who the fuck are these
Yeah.
people?
Yeah. Did you get the opportunity to meet Warnie?
No,
Yeah.
I spoke to him for like 2 seconds on a phone call when I was like a producer, and he was lovely for those 2 seconds.
Yeah,
So, but no, it was a bit. It was the main thing was like, it feels a bit like uncool to be
okay.
Shane Keithing it. So we and Pipe Dreams was the name of our first ever episode that we recorded. When we were just always be like, fuck, doing a podcast would be a pipe dream. Pipe dream. So
Yeah.
we called the first episode Pipe Dreams, and we're like, fuck, what are we going to change?
Recorded
it to?
on a laptop on GarageBand.
Flicking through the
10 years
newspaper.
ago, flicking through the newspaper, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's the genesis of dribbling, you know.
Yeah.
is that episode.
just on Warnie, and isn't it fucking crook how now all of a sudden he's passed, he's still got his kids here, he's still got family around, and people are digging up saying, "Oh mate, when he died, you know, he had this."
I
You're
know.
going,
Disgusting. Yeah.
honestly, like who
Let's leave
cares?
it.
Mate.
Let's leave it.
The bloke has passed. Let him and his loved ones just
Yeah.
let it go.
I know.
Please.
It
I
was-
could not believe that article. I read it the other day.
Well, we intentionally didn't talk about it as well. We were just like,
Yeah.
you know, like if you hear that story about someone living, that's our bread and butter. I'm like, give me that.
Yeah.
But you're just like, this is really unnecessary shit to be dredging
Particularly so long after. Like it's just they've resurfaced it. Like
Well,
just
how long has it been?
unnecessary.
4 years?
Yeah, yeah.
It's been a while.
That
Jeez,
was,
it only felt like 2 years ago. A year ago.
what a horrendous time. I remember Rod Marsh passed, and
Dean Jones.
Dean Jones just before that.
Roy?
then Rod, and then mate,
Symonds?
then it was Warnie, and then Henry Symonds. 'Cause
Yeah.
we see Roy all the time in at Fox Sports. Actually, me and Jack had a night out with him once. Fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was such a great bloke. And just after Warnie died, we were at Fox Sports, and we're sitting there, we had a long chat about Warnie, and then fucking bugging me.
I know.
Shortly, straight after,
Yeah.
Roy.
I know. That was terrible.
Terrible.
The whole thing was awful. It was awful. But 'cause I think we actually did something for KO at that point as well. And we spoke to him not long after Warnie. And it was just, again, we didn't know him, but it was fucking Andrew Symonds. And just, yeah, you saw like his family and his daughter, or that whole thing. It's just like it was a very, very heavy
champion.
time.
We went out one night. There was myself, Fletcher's mate Beast,
Beast.
Jack,
Yeah.
and
Don't
Roy.
ask.
Beast and Roy. So we had a good crew going, and we went to the Manly boat shed to finish with, as you do. 'Cause that's
Yes.
what winners do. You go
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
You go.
yeah.
So
Good
the band's playing, and the guy's going. Has anyone got any requests? I remember Roy going. Was it Billy Joel? Didn't he? And this bloke went, he goes, Billy Joel, man. He goes, yeah, Roy Symonds, yeah, Billy Joel. And this bloke, this dead shit next to Roy goes, fuck Billy Joel. And Roy went, fuck you. Right? And Jack goes, I think it's time to go. And Jack was driving. And Jack drove Roy all the way back to the casino, right? And every time I'd see that, he'd always go, fuck you, young bloke. Fuck, he's good for doing that.
That's very good.
What did he have
I
against?
think it's time to go.
What did he have against Billy Joel?
That bloke.
Yeah, I know.
Who hates Billy Joel?
No, I know.
Fuck Billy
He's
Joel.
like the most innocent singer of all
Yeah,
time.
yeah, that's
You also said it to Roy.
Yeah. He's got-
That's right.
Like,
what are we doing?
what are we doing?
talk about dribblers. You can get some, if you've been down to the boat shed past midnight, you can get those characters.
Yeah,
down
that's
there.
when the dribbler's out there, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
when they're
Dribbler
out
hours
there.
are after about
Dribbler
11.
hours. About 11.
I once found a wallet right at the boat shed. I opened it up, had $400 in it. I went, oh, what do I do here? What do I do? And I thought, I'll do the right thing. So I walked up on the bar and I went, hey, how you doing? I've just found this wallet. And the woman goes, yeah. And I said, I just want to. And she went, oh, yeah, I don't know, just take it here. I thought to myself, like That wallet is not going to go back to its own.
That wallet is better off with you, mate.
I should have.
You would have spent it better.
kept it.
You would have spent it better than that.
Hey, so you said some of the podcasts underneath your production company.
Yep.
How did they come about? You said We Mean Well. Did
Yep.
you guys go and kind of, you knew Jarch went to university with, did you guys sort of say, oh, do you want to do a podcast? Or did he come to you and say, I'd love to do a podcast under you guys? How do you find the talent for it?
We had sort of
We've been telling him to do a
quite
podcast.
close to begged Josh to do a podcast for
Yeah.
like years. I was like, bro, you'd be unreal. You've got to do a potty. You got to do a potty. You got to do a potty. Finally, he's like, okay, I'll do one. And they're like, well, who do you want to do it with? And he'd sort of just recently at that point met Louisa, who he does it with, and they'd had a good chemistry. They'd done a couple of TikTok videos together. He's like, I think it would be fun to do it with her. So we got him in for a few trials, and then after like 6 months, they were pumping. One of the biggest
Doesn't
in the
that
country.
say a lot about them both?
Yeah.
Like you blokes have known each other, forever.
Yeah.
These guys are my seed. I know.
Correct.
Which makes it easier. But to meet someone and then straight afterwards sort of jump into a podcast, that says a lot about them both.
They both, like, knowing Jarch, it's like he's so funny and he's like a performer in that he's open, like he just sort of goes with the flow, and he's like, it's one of the things I respect it or appreciate about him. Lou's actually exactly the same. Lou, the way she is in that show, you're like, she does these fucking karaoke things where she comes in and she dresses up as Elvis or as Britney Spears
And goes
she's
hard,
just
gets like proper outfits.
commits to the bit and does like a full fucking lip sync of it, and you're like, that's the energy I think you need a little bit to be able to just like hit it off straight away.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also not that easy. We got lucky, like everyone got lucky in that situation there with them. Like they were perfect for each other, and we just finally got Jarch to fucking commit to do something.
Yeah, but it was nice to see when you sort of like big nights of like, mate, you'd be unbelievable, mate. And
Just like you did to me.
I got a bit of form. But I've got a good eye for talent. Because you boys are going all right as well.
You ever thought about playing management?
Yeah, seriously. But so it was rewarding to see that work. We've got another podcast, You Wouldn't. They approached us. These two young 25-year-olds. One's Will Gibb.
Very funny.
Yeah.
Both of them are very funny.
Will Gibb and
funny.
Pat Clifton, fucking funny, unhinged, sort of Gen Z, wild boys. Loose. Loose topics.
Very loose topic.
Yeah.
Let's just say
Topics.
they wouldn't be approached by breakfast radio.
No.
They'd be
no.
the whole thing would be beeped.
Who are the two
They are
blokes-
hilarious.
Who are the two blokes on today? Did they come out of the podcast world?
Jimmy and Nath. Yeah.
Don't know.
I know they do the breakfast show on
Today.
FM. I don't know if they'll podcast first or if they do a podcast now.
I think they may have.
They were in Tassie, I think. Together.
Oh yeah.
Taz?
Tasmania.
Tassie.
Jack's.
I mean, does that really count as far as media coming
Well,
out of
they-
Tasmania?
Mate, they're starting to make moves. The Tasmanian Devils, new AFL team.
Did you like the mascot? The mascot?
The mascot, Dad. Maybe.
Yeah, it was
Mate.
fucked.
Pus.
What are we
It was-
doing?
It's got to be the scariest thing ever. Imagine your kid there
Oh,
and that
mate.
mascot's
Yeah,
over.
yeah. It's made out of old like school shoes or some shit. You're like, what are we fucking doing? Just make a mascot. What the fuck? While we're at it, the Eels mascot's crook as well.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
thing's like a furry.
It's not an eel.
Parramatta.
No, it's a human. Yeah, the parrot thing. It's like a dude with like a tail.
a man.
It's like a dildo.
Yeah, it does.
One of those new fancy
It's got a
ones.
rabbit on it as well.
it's a man
Those real fancy ones, a sort of loop for the
Yeah,
clitoris.
yeah. And beads and shit.
The new age.
Yeah. Woke eel. While we're on Parramatta, remember when I saw you guys at the Parramatta Games?
Oh, yeah.
When was that? 2 years ago.
When
We got the limo, remember, out there? Remember he got in the limo with us after the game?
Oh no,
Manly
I drove back to the
Oh,
Southern
yeah,
Island,
right.
Tell
That was
Dad the story because he wouldn't have heard this before.
So we went into Manly at one point to like, I think we were filming content like a pre-season media day. And we went into their like games hangout room. They had a PlayStation 4 and there's currently a PlayStation 5 out. And we were like, that's not fucking good enough. That's not
And
good
then
enough.
you got to remember as well, Manly had been at Narrabeen. They trained out of the Demandables. No one had a shower. Like
Yeah.
it was all just a bit bogan and a bit budget. We needed
to give it now they're in the center of excellence.
Yes.
And so we're like, we
Correct.
need to give them something that matches this center of excellence. So we went and bought them a PS5, got them like games, controllers, and we got like, what's it called? We got
Skins.
Like, skins. We got like our print of us over the PlayStation and on the controllers, and it's just me and Eddie with Manly 13 plus jumpers
took us like 4 days to get it
to
on.
try and actually get
Mate,
it on.
it was an
It was a
absolute
fucking mongrel.
show.
So then we go, all right, well, like, when can we give it to them? And the media manager, we organised it and was like, oh, Manly's playing at Parramatta at Combank. We were out there to do a catch the ball at halftime thing or whatever. And it was like, you can give it to the boys after the game. Like, sick, because we mad in the sheds.
We get in a picnic basket. It's got cellophane.
Yeah,
coming
yeah. It was
out.
like a hamper with the fucking PlayStation.
And let me tell you something. It was the wrong game to give it to the boys.
They
Manly got pumped.
Oh, no. Yeah. It was the wrong day to be in the sheds.
Yeah,
Like,
we
it
were
was-
standing in the sheds like fucking Make-A-Wish kids afterwards, and everyone's walking in just fuming like someone had died.
Anthony Symonds walked in at one point and just stared at us. We're like, oh, Jesus.
And in the end, we were just like, we could probably just fucking put it down here and get out of here. Like, we know.
They're like, no, just wait for Jake. Just wait for Jake. I'll wait for a play. We're like, oh, my God. It was tough.
Yeah, we offloaded it.
As soon
in
as
the
Jake came, we're like, there you go,
Yeah.
mate. See you later.
Jake's such a sweetheart. It's like he'll smile after anything, and you're just like, he was there. And we're like, all right, mate, just fucking let us
We
go.
were at the club the other day and we went to check. It was still there.
Still there.
It was.
Still
Thank
there.
God.
Stickers still on.
Stickers still
They
on.
thought they might have peeled some stickers off after a couple of harsh comments from us, but they've,
No, still
they've
there.
kept it on.
Yeah, but then after the game, because you guys had a
Right.
limo. You guys had a limo.
So yeah, we had sometimes we like to limos are obviously very ostentatious and stupid, and that's like when we think we like to get them for the most unnecessary times.
Yeah.
So we got a limo from the studio out to Combank with like that fucking real cheap champagne and shit in
There's
there.
always a cheap bottle of champagne and a bottle of Fanta. That's like the modern limo, mate.
So good.
It's so good.
And so we're just like, so we went out there, and then afterwards, did you come back with us, or did you? Because we got out of the.
I was just walking to my car, and I came out at the wrong side of the stadium. When I seen these guys, like the head out of the limo, just like, and it was parked. Like they were just like dancing out the top of the sunroof. And I was like, what's going on here? And they go, Coops. But then the weird thing was the driver of this limo, like he must have been the only Cooper Johns fan in the whole of Parramatta that day.
He was the biggest Cooper Johns fan as well. He was.
Mate, I was like, I thought I was going to get abducted. He was like, he goes, what the hell? And like put his handbrake on and runs out. And I'm like trying to talk to the boys, and he was just like relentless. He goes, you got to come in my limo. And I'm like,
As in sit in your limo?
but then remember, he was like, put your head out the sunroof, and was taking.
He made him stand out the sunroof. Cooper's got his manly gear and shit.
Yeah, I just wanted to go home, and he was just like taking pictures of me, and then he goes, "Oh, can someone take a picture? I'm going to get in there too." And this limo, visualize this. It was like an awkward size of limo, so it wasn't like the giant limousine. It was like just big enough to call it a limo, but it wasn't a limo.
Yeah.
So he's come in the sunroof, and it was a tiny sunroof, and he's like squeezing next to me. We're like basically face to face, and he's like, remember, I had a beer which he'd made me hold, and he was like, "Oh, give me the beer. Can you pretend to pour it into my mouth?" And that?
It was honestly like
God.
train wreck shit where we were just like talking to Cooper, and then we're like, wait, what's the limo driver doing? He's like, what the fuck? This is super weird. And then he's having to stand up there with the guy. I'd forgotten about that driver, dude.
Hey, I
he was
know.
a fucking weirdo.
It was relentless, eh?
Mate, limos are fun in the back.
Yeah.
They're good fun.
It's nothing says like you're on a mission. It's a great day.
We
Like,
did it to UFC the other day.
We're a big fan of the limo.
Yeah.
Big fan of the
we're
limo.
in New York for the grill team once. Me and Mark Geyer, we get off. Jack, were you there? Remember that? Jack's nodding away. So we get off.
He hasn't got a mic. He keeps throwing it.
We're rattled. We get to the airport. You know, it's madness. Everyone's coming left, right, and centre. And this guy goes, "Hey, boys, you want to lift?" And I went, "Oh, where you from, brother?" And he said, "I'm from Guyana." You know, and I went, "Oh, the home of Jeffrey Dujon, who was the wing team for the West Indies." He goes, "Yeah, do you know Jeffrey?" I went, "I know him very well." And he goes, "No problem. Come in the car." So we hop in the limo, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, like, okay. And he's driving, going, "Oh, man, I can't believe you know Jeffrey. You know, how do you know him?" And I'm just making up this shit. Anyway, he's going, "Guys, there's cognac in the back. Just help yourselves." Right? And we're just sculling the cognac. And then we arrive, and I said, "Am I Australia?" He goes, No. Any friend of Jeffrey Dujon. It's on me. I thought, oh, no, karma's going to get me.
I will say, Matthew's party trick is he has a fact or knowledge about every place on earth. So whenever we travel, things like that just tend to happen because he's skilled himself geographically on everywhere, so he can strike up a conversation or bludge his way through a convo sometimes like that.
We'll get a free limo.
With anyone, like all the time. You pride yourself on that.
Yeah. And there are other tricks too. My other gift has been I taught myself into restaurants.
Oh, really?
So Trish and I were in Vancouver, and someone said, "So where's a good meal?" They said, "Mate, Italian just around the corner here. It is classed as probably the best Italian in all of Canada." We go, "Wow, okay, fantastic. Can you book in?" They said, can't get in it, like literally 6 months. I've gone, oh, yeah. And Trisha's very straight down the line, Italian, you know what I mean? And she, and I said, don't worry, let's just turn up. She goes, oh, no. I said, just trust me. So anyway, I walk into the restaurant and I'm up on my toes and I'm, hey, guys, how are you? And they go, oh, hello, sir, how are you? Like they're taken aback. I said, oh, mate, I'm just over the moon. I booked this 12 months ago. It's my wife and it's our 25th wedding anniversary. She goes, oh, and you picked here? I said, yes, we picked here. She goes, okay, what is this? It was table for two for John's.
Yeah.
She goes, let me just check it. She goes down. She goes, well, just hold on 1 second. And she goes out the back. Next to me, she comes and she goes, oh, there it is there.
That's actually great.
That is genius. You got to come in.
You just got to completely.
You turn up and some big occasion.
Yeah.
They could never shut you down. Not on your 25th wedding.
I always
You
wig out
come all the way
like
from
that.
Australia, 25 years.
You go into like restaurants and they're like, hey, what's any special occasion? I'm always like, fuck, dude, I should just be.
I'm a big special occasion guy,
Yeah.
particularly at hotels. It's always my honeymoon.
It's always your anniversary.
because you
Yeah.
always get upgrades.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
9 out of 10, you'll get an upgrade.
Yeah, and if
Wow.
you're at
Such
dinner,
animal.
you say it's your anniversary, always get dessert.
Yes, you do.
You
They always
always
bring out a
get
little
yeah.
cake and you
Yeah.
get a better table.
Yeah,
I use it all
yeah.
the time.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's probably a bit much for me. I'd probably go to water, putting that sort of pressure on them. It's like
Yeah.
when you go get a shit haircut and your barber's always like, oh, what do you think about your hair? I never address it.
Yeah.
No.
Because
refuse.
I'm not prepared to wear it if the guy goes, fuck off, man. I'm going to come down off my tippy toes and walk off. You know?
Those people that always pull up for if it's bad service or bad haircut, something like that, and they go, I refuse to pay. I have so much respect for those people because they have got to have some big nuts to do
Yeah,
that.
but dude, then you see the people who you almost think they just do. That's like a racket where they're like if someone's actually fucked you around or given you a bad haircut, you're like, mate, I didn't ask for that. But then you see people when we were in the Goldie. Fuck, it might have been for Jarch's fight last year. There was just this guy, and you could just tell he was just all like he does this every time, and he was like telling him like, "Well, you said this, and then I said that," and it was like I was listening to this whole thing, and I'm like, he's actually done in the wrong this whole time, but he just was like, "I'm not paying. Get me the manager." I'm like, "Fuck."
Yeah, it's a
I don't
racket.
know how people have that energy.
Yeah,
They're
yes.
out there. They're out there.
Yeah. Tommy, can I ask you? Like, I don't like to do this too about. Talk about your legendary dad. I mean, Cooper hates talking about me. But
I don't.
no, but your old man, like
Yeah.
Billy. I had a conversation with him the other night when I was blind. And I said, mate, you've got to get back on the road. You've got
I
to
know.
do it. And he goes, oh, Matty, it's a sensitive world out there. I said, mate, it's changing. It's changing.
I know.
You must have had, as a kid, so much fun. Because I was telling the boys before, he wasn't a record company. He did it all out of the house.
Yeah.
Just
This
purely
sort
him.
of vibe.
Yeah.
It's he would record everything out of the house or like up with his friends, like his producer Froggy's place. It was like in hindsight an interesting upbringing, I guess, in some regard. But it was very cool to see. I reckon that's partially why like I felt comfortable to try and do this because I was I was exposed to it being an option.
Yep.
Like if he just had done it fucking whatever 9 to 5, I don't think I would have necessarily
Believed in it.
believed that it was even a thing, or he'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? But I would see like all the stuff at home. He would record everything under the John Wilkes booth, he'd call it, which he'd make at home with just mattresses and he'd just put a blanket over it and, the
John Wilkes.
John Wilkes booth, and it'd get re-erected every time he was doing an album. And, even, it's funny, I didn't even really think of it, but he'd sort of pointed it out in like the booklets that he would have in maybe the Wide World of Sports ones where it was like, he'd photoshopped his head onto like fucking some chick doing gymnastics and he had like his testes popping out, or like him surfing on a wave and there's a big great white. And then when we started doing the podcast, we just started photoshopping ourselves into shit all the time. And he was like, he sort of pointed out and I was like, oh yeah. Like, I think all that sort of stuff just, it's seeped into me.
It bleeds in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't know, even when they love the song of sorts, not a song, but Australiana, which to that point was released in the 80s, to that point, and maybe still is the highest selling single in Australian music history.
It was at the time. I think Kylie might have
Gone past
dusted
it.
him.
Damn her.
Fucking Kylie.
Damn that little diva. But your dad wrote it.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah,
Austin
yeah.
performed it and your dad wrote it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I I certainly don't have any. Some people are like, in the way you asked there, you're like, oh, I don't want to ask about your dad. I actually have no hang-ups about that at all. I think he's fucking one of the funniest people we've ever produced, right? Like that Australiana is like so well written. You know, just the whole thing, the way that wordplay all works.
But every one of those
still funny as well.
It's genius. Listen to Bill Laurie, This Is Your Life, the other day, and there's so many little subtle things in that are just. It's genius. It's brilliant.
I'm on that one actually. That was my first debut as a little child.
Yeah, well, I was saying you are on a couple.
Yeah, man. We all were on them and a few of them.
So what did he use you for? Like
there was, I think, like at the end of Bill Laurie, there was like some sort of I haven't heard it for ages, but like there was some sort of montage or something. Yeah, maybe it was like kids being interviewed or it's his grandkids or something. And I'm like, stick that up your ass, Tony Greg. Just like as this little highlights.
And Richie Benno too. There's one where, g'day, Mr. Benno. Can we get an autograph? And somebody goes, yeah, no problem. Who do we autograph it to? He goes, fuck off.
Who do I make it out to? Just to dear. He's like, oh, fuck off.
Just to dear Richie.
There were heaps of our family members and like family friends, and like in one of them, Mum's just best friend, who was just this sweet English lady who ran like a hobby horse farm in fucking Kangaloo in the Southern Highlands, Ollie. Dad just loved her voice so much. He was like, can you be my secretary for fucking Faye Dingaway, I think?
Oh, is she Faye?
Yeah. And it was just Ollie, like one of my sister's friends' mums who Dad's just dragged on to be in the fucking record.
It must be funny. Like you're a kid. Some of the people who would have brought through the house, like I imagine some big names would have come through to record out of the John Wilkes.
Yeah, again, like it was not weird at the time.
The male model from Mudgee.
No, see, that was part of it as well. He'd record everywhere. I think he did like Kenny and those like in hotel rooms and shit. Dude, John Wilkes could be erected anywhere. That was the beauty of it. He was dragging mattresses off hotel beds and shit.
It was mobile.
Yes. Yeah. But you know, like they would record out of Jimmy Barnes's place. Like he had like a loft as part of like this fucking monster house they had in Barrel. And like we were very close growing up, our family. So like there was that, you know, John Farnham to a lesser extent, but like part of that, all these people that I would just sort of like see here or there, and people that I would never have even realized. But you know, again, only upon reflection where you're like, oh fuck yeah, that was.
It's funny. It's funny you just mentioned Jimmy Barnes' house in Barrel. So we went there one year. Was it New Year's or Christmas? New Year's. Thank you, Jackson. New Year's party. Him and Dad were close. And, you know, come down to the farm. Anyway, Dad, being Dad, had a little bit to drink. And Jimmy's dogs got lost, right? And anyway, so Dad went, all right, we'll break up. We'll do a search party because it's quite a big property. So everyone breaks up. It's like midnight. Like New Year, the fireworks are about to go. Anyway, I end up finding the dog. It was just it was scared of the fireworks and it had hidden behind his bed. And I went, oh, everyone, we found the dog. Oh, sweet, perfect. Everyone sort of comes back from the scavenger hunt. Dad's still not back. But no one noticed. And I'm going, where's Dad? Where's Dad? So I start walking out going, Dad, through this property. And I just hear this groaning, and I walked up and he'd fallen in a wombat hole. but he'd fallen asleep. So he'd fallen asleep. And then he'd obviously woken up and his whole bottom half is stuck in this wombat hole. I was like, what's going on? I had to go back to the house and say, oh, can I get another adult to like help get another adult? Mate, it was so funny.
Drag him out of the wombat.
No. And wombats, they get dangerous.
Yeah, mate, wombat, if
they get him claw the fuck out of your feet.
Well, that's like an imbecile, that those people that picked up the wombat. You know,
that chick picked up the baby wombat. You're like, what are you doing?
Fuck
and then it runs out after. I couldn't watch it.
It actually felt bad, didn't it?
Yeah. Sick.
That's a fucking warning for me.
Noted.
I don't know if that could be incriminating if in 10 years' time they use this.
Yeah.
Hey, back on the old man, does Billy ever like ring you boys up and give you feedback? Or like, did he do that at the start, helping you guys? Because like Dad used to ring me and Jack with, you know, his footy tips. This is Billy's area of expertise. Like, did he ever help you guys along the way?
No. He would, to be honest, for the longest period of time, I think he was a bit like, oh, what the fuck is this? We're like early on, he would never say that. And he never actually made that. Maybe that was my own insecurities where I'm like, oh, I'm fucking doing something the same, you know, not the same at all, but, you know, like in the same world. But so I would sort of tell him sometimes and he'd be like, oh, yeah, you know, whatever. But he didn't really listen. It was only once we started having some success, I think, that he probably even like took it seriously and listened to it. And then it was more like, you'd be like, oh, it's not too bad. You guys all right? Yeah. And I was like, thank you, Dad. Thank you.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay.
But no advice.
No, he doesn't really give us advice. No. I think because it isn't the same thing. Like, he is a creative mind who, like, you know, he comes up with these fucking things and, like, he might just tell you something. Like, he came up with the name for our gambling show About Even. You know what I mean? So there's certain things like that where he sort of... And he didn't even, might have even just been that. He might have even just said once, like, he wanted to get a horse and call it that. And I was like, well, I'm going to steal it.
Stolen.
Yeah. But he's not a big conversationalist. So the podcast side of things is not like, it's, you know what I mean? It's us just sort of talking shit.
Yeah, that's interesting. So he doesn't, like,
His script.
podcast side, would he struggle with that side of just getting in a room and just talking shit for an hour?
No, he can do it.
we've done
We've done a couple of potties with him.
and he's funny as fuck.
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
spins old yarns a lot.
Yeah.
And like what he used to talk about on his tapes, you know, his recordings, stuff like that.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
can shoot.
He can definitely shoot the shit.
But it's not his bread and butter. He's like name play and stuff like that.
Yeah. So he's certainly more just like, you know, there are also things like, I mean, obviously this is very specific, but with, like, I'll talk to him about rugby league sometimes or sport generally, and I now am like, I know way more about sport than he does. He's obviously like great at making it funny and like, but he'll say some shit about rugby league. I'm just like, Dad, shut the fuck up. I can't have a conversation with you about this. Where he's like, what the fuck, mate? Like, you know, where he's like annoyed.
What was his one the other day about the play? Was it Nickel
he goes, mate, who do you reckon the best player I saw on the weekend was? And I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know. And he's like, well, which game do you think I'm talking about? I'm like, there's 8 fucking games, 2 teams. I'm like, I don't know, dude. And I'm like, what day? He's like, Friday. I'm like, right, okay, what time? 6 p.m. I'm like, oh, Dad, I don't know if I even watched that game. And he's like, Charnze Nickel Clogstad. That guy. And it was like a 6-10 against the Roosters. I'm like, what the fuck even happened in that game? That fucking guy, everything he did. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
I saw him once, right, Tommy? We had a thing of Triple M. We took over a pub and we called it the gym. Because, you know, it's one of those brilliant things that, you know, radio executives come up and go, what we're going to do is so people tell their wives, what are you doing? I'm off to the gym. I said, why don't we call it the church? Oh, we don't want to do that. You don't want to offend the Catholics.
Yeah.
Anyway, so your dad turns up and we're about 2/3 of the way through the show. He's there for the last year. He turns up and I said, how you going, Billy? You look tired, mate. He goes, Matty, I'm fucked. Oh, fuck. You know, and this joint's packed. And he walks in, mate, he got up on the stage. And he did half an hour straight. We just stopped. We didn't play any music. We didn't get a ad break. It was unbelievable. Just picked up off the energy of the crowd. And like,
his ability to just turn it on is I've seen that.
Really?
Yeah, because he doesn't sleep very well, and he's a typical creative. Like, you know, it's fucking ups and downs, but then he'll just come on and just bang, and you're like, you'd have no idea that he just was like half asleep or couldn't be fucked, and then he just like, and then he just rips, and he gets fucking nervous for it as well. Like, you know, he used to do the back page, and I used to go in there all the time and watch him, and then he'd get off the back page, which is not even in front of a live audience, and he'd just be sweating.
Wow. Just a perfectionist.
Yeah, he's a massive perfectionist.
Yeah, right.
That's partly, I reckon, why he doesn't get back out and do all that, because now it's like, you know, like he needs it to be 100% right.
Mate, it would be a sold out tour, and all the stuff he does, like, you know, like the stuff he does is it's not offensive.
No,
like it is not offensive. It's taking the piss.
Yeah,
I don't think. I just can't believe some people take offence, as opposed to the boys once and one of their mates went and saw Rodney Rude in concert.
Yeah,
Rodney's not aged that well.
Jack's mate, who's a real knockabout kid, came back and I said, oh, Harry, how was Rodney Rude? And he just went, oh, mate. He goes, oh, mate. He goes, even I took offence to some of this stuff.
Yeah, Rodney's punchy these days. You're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, Rodney's real. Rodney's... He's on the back end now, Rodney.
Well, yeah, you can't really fucking do. No, I agree with you though. Like, I think the period of the world where like it went very fucking woke or whatever, you know what I mean? And everyone was wigging out. Now I think a lot of people like we've kind of come out the other side. I think that was where Dad was just like, what the fuck is going on with the world today? And so I think he's still a little bit like gun shy after that. Yep. He still will hit me. That's with he'll always hit me with like an Islander football name out of the blue. That's like one of the things I still love, where he's just coming up with one and I'm like, how the fuck?
And the Sri Lankan cricket team was, I love I love a hooter singer. Met him in the gay bar. And just like,
I love the Jerry. See you. I see you too, Jerry. That is.
I'll send him like under 20s teams all the time. Like I'll find like New South Wales Cup sides. I'm like, Dad, have at it, bro. Like there's so many good names.
Have a crack.
Yeah.
Hey, before we let you go, next 5 years, Hello Sport.
What do you reckon?
What
boys?
are we thinking? Where to from here? You know what I mean?
Are you going to follow Darth Vader's lead and go into coffee and that sort of stuff and talk about down in the
Well, we've got our multivitamins, so hopefully that's kicking goals.
Yeah.
In terms of where we'll still be dribbling and yarning, 100%.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard to predict.
We get asked all the time, like, what do you want to do, or what are the long-term plans? And like, we've never really had them, and I don't think nothing we've done has been off the back of like a long-term plan. We're like, I think
things just pop up and we just roll with them in the moment.
Yeah,
we'll have a great idea and we're like, fuck, let's do that. Like that's just all the way we've always operated, as opposed to planning 5 years out. Just because it's too hard to predict the mood we'll be in or where we'll be at.
And also, if you plan something and then when you get to it, it doesn't feel organic, it's like it's probably not worth. Like it won't translate.
Yeah.
Whereas, like for example, with last year with the Olympics, we were like, "Fuck, the Olympics is on in 2 weeks. Like, what are we gonna do?" And then we're like, "Let's just get a bed in the office and just stay up all night and watch it, and just live stream fucking every night, or anytime we've got a gold medal on." And so we just did that, and it went well. And we're like, "Okay, this is more our speed rather than like thinking, oh, we've got the Olympics in August. Like, what the fuck are we going to do?"
We've never been good planners either.
No.
Yeah, right. Okay.
We're always scrambling last minute.
Awful husbands. I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, congratulations on fatherhood.
Yeah,
Thank
well
you very
done.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Good to be part of the crew.
Number one.
Number one little girl.
Wow.
Girl.
Welcome to hell.
That's been all right so far.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Sleepy?
I'm loving it. Sleep's been all right. Touch wood.
Perfect.
Touch wood.
Yeah.
We had they asked us to go into one of the radio stations, recently Nova, who on the platform, and they said, Trish and I went in there, and they asked a sincere question. They said, "Tell us about the podcast and what does it represent?" I said, and I meant this sincerely, I said, "It's an educational show. If your life's going great, you're living the dream, whatever you do, don't get married. Right? It will destroy your life. And if you want to double down, have kids. You want to triple down, have 2. And they were like, okay, thank you very much for your information.
Oh, thanks, boys. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, big rap to you guys. Big effort coming over here, obviously.
boys, thank you.
More than welcome.
Pleasure.
We're massive fans, all three of us, of the content. We love it, especially the yarn you had on Peter Peters last year. That was my favourite one-liner ever. You guys said, you can't trust a bloke with 2 first names. Peter Peters, it must be impossible to trust a bloke with the same first name twice. Oh, it still keeps me up at night. I still crack up that. But thanks very much for coming over. We appreciate it.
Good on you, boys.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for the
Loved
gifts
it.
too, boys.
Hey, you're very welcome.
You're welcome.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers, boys.